Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, and welcome back to Placement Game 5. Halfway through, just about halfway through, our Placement Game series here in Hero League Season 2. Got a really interesting video for you today. Really interesting video. Gonna really enjoy this one, I'm sure. First part, though, some people might want to skip. It's up to you. I'm gonna leave this in because it's gonna be pretty cool, I think. Is that this first draft, we're gonna get pretty much to the end of the draft, and then someone, I don't know who, but someone's gonna Q dodge it, which I think I've seen once or twice in total in my life in Hero League, but someone Q dodges anyway, or disconnects, I don't know exactly. But it's going to cancel the draft, we're going to get into a new one. But both drafts are actually on Sky Temple, and we're going to see a lot of the same players are going to be on both teams. So it's going to make for a pretty interesting dynamic, I think. But anyway, here we are in Sky Temple. It's a really interesting map overall. It's quite, it leans quite a lot towards the early game. It also, I feel like a lot of heroes are viable here. You don't have, let's say on Infernal Shrines, there's tends to be like a few specific heroes you want to be strong. Or let's say even more so on Battlefield of Eternity, you've got some very specifically strong heroes. On this map, I'd certainly say Thrall, Li Ming are very powerful. But there's quite a lot of variety. There's no bunch of heroes that super stand out. Falstad, Zagara maybe, Li Ming, stuff like that. Anyway, I'm hovering Oriole here. I was considering what to pick. It's quite interesting in terms of supports here, actually, because I don't think Oriole can solo a shrine, whereas I believe Rhaegar, Kharazim can. I think Rhaegar can, and Brightwing might be able to. I'm not actually sure. Anyway, our teammate is locking in the Kel'Thas as well. Maybe not the best map for Kel'Thas, but it's not terrible either. And I'm locking in the Oriole, and we should combo together relatively well. The idea with Oriole is she works very nicely with supports that can, or with heroes that can get relatively guaranteed damage. And one important thing, and you can see this is actually exactly what he's doing, but our team captain here, Matin, we actually played with him last season a bunch of times. We didn't get on that great, but he is a very good player. You can see he is hovering the Lunara pick. I think it's very important not to leave your team captain on support. You want to leave your team captain free to pick whatever they want to pick, because they are in theory the best player on the team. It's unlikely they're going to be the worst. They're probably going to be pretty solid anyway, so you don't want to force them onto something. You don't want to take away their choice. You want to let them use their, in theory, again, higher skill level to basically pick what they want to pick, like pick something that really fits the draft, and preferably put them on a high skill hero, a mechanically challenging hero like an assassin or something like that. Pretty much the worst thing you can do, and I've seen this a whole bunch of times, is that people will lock in assassins, and then you'll have like the best player by far is on a support running around, not able to actually do anything. They're going to pick up Medivh and Rhaegar, and we're looking at Tyrael and Lunara. It's pretty smart, but Lunara obviously combos incredibly well with Oriole. They're a perfect combo pretty much. The Tyrael is pretty solid pick overall. I think looking at this, we should be pretty concerned that they're going to pick some sort of divey melee assassin like a Kerrigan, something like that. They have a Medivh to back it up, and Rhaegar, they're essentially running a sort of double support type thing, and then Li Ming being a solid backline. But they actually dodged, I think it was maybe the Muradin. I'm not sure exactly, kind of glimpsed it there, maybe at the end of that, doesn't matter too much. Anyway, I'll cut back to the next draft and see you all then. And here we are, back to Sky Temple, and back to the draft. And as you see, we've got several of the same people coming up in this particular draft. Matin is now going to be the first pick for our team. XCB, who is, I believe, the team captain in the last game for the enemy team, is now the first pick on the enemy team. Moriarty, who was our first pick Thrall in the last game, is over on the enemy team too. There might have been a couple other ones, I'm not sure. I just noticed those kind of firstly. But here we go, we've got our team captain's actually hovering Lunara already, indicating he wants to play Lunara. And that's fantastic. Lunara's a really great hero. And she's pretty good on this map. She is a late game hero, but she can work pretty well here on this one too. She just does a lot of AoE damage, and it also lets you, and you're going to see, we're going to do precisely this, but you can pick heroes to prepare for the Lunara pick later in the draft, which is, it can be pretty brutal to the enemy team. Anyway, he's going to first pick Medivh. I do like Medivh a lot on this map, the vision, the engages, and Medivh can do a ton of damage. Seriously, he does an absolute ton of damage. He can be crazy. And he brings that extra support, protects from melee assassins and burst, which is pretty important too, because burst and melee assassins are going to be pretty popular here. Anyway, you can see Matin locks in the Oriole. I think that's a great pick. She's just a great healer, overall a great support, and she does open up this Lunara combo, which is really nice. going into the later part of this game. And there you go, we get an Arthas as well, which is fantastic. So both of these heroes combo insanely well with Lunara. Arthas being this big bulky frontline, also slowing heroes down. Lunara can pick up a talent at level 13 called Unfair Advantage, which makes her do a lot more damage to heroes that are slowed. So unbelievable combo with Arthas. And then the constant damage Lunara is doing gives Oriel this constant flow of hope, this constant flow of energy that makes it really easy for her to put out consistent healing. She's not worried about, you know, getting it in bursts, which is hard to deal with. It's like, all right, I'm at 60% hope. Do I use the heal now? Because they're going to get a big burst chunk of damage and it's going to like over cap, basically, something like that. But anyway, pretty interesting stuff here. We see the Lei Ming and the Falstad were banned, pretty reasonable for this map. They're going to ban out Muradin. We're going to try to get a bit of a warrior deadlock on the enemy team. Could be pretty interesting. We'll see what they ban out. But they picked up the Rexar and the Kel'Thas. So, Kel'Thas, talked about him before. Nice AoE damage, he's a pretty solid hero, pretty good. And then they've got the Rexar. And Rexar is actually very good on this map too. He can solo the temple super efficiently. Misha's great. He's a really underrated hero. Very unpopular, but he's got a very, very high win rate. I actually think at the minute, overall in the game, I think I glanced at Hotslogs, and I think he's the highest right now by a little bit. But he's been in the top for ages. He's incredibly good. So they ban out the Sylvanas. I'm actually going to pick e.t.c. Going to run double warrior here. Pretty tanky double warrior on top of that. But I really wanted to deny e.t.c. from them. e.t.c. is an obvious pick to go in with their team. We would lack severely interrupts from Mosh Pit. Could be pretty scary. e.t.c. is an incredibly good early game ganking hero. He brings a lot of CC. And honestly, Arthas does a lot of damage, Lunara does a lot of damage, and then our fifth pick is basically free to pick whatever damage dealer he wants, but he can also do a lot of damage, hopefully. And yeah, I figured the e.t.c. would be a nice pickup in this particular game. And it's going to be good as well for catching Medivh, for catching the Rexar, or catching the Kel'Thas. They're all quite vulnerable. I don't believe Rexar can interrupt the Mosh Pit. I think Misha gets stunned. Medivh potentially could. It depends what heroic he picks up. Potentially we could catch him in it though. And Kel'Thas can, but hopefully we're going to catch him in it. They actually pick up Leoric and Kharazim then. Neither one which can interrupt the Mosh Pit at all. Yeah, Kharazim is great on this map, I think. I think he's really, really strong. I was kind of showing, like, I'd like to see Sergeant Hammer. Chromie could be maybe an option, but Medivh kind of counters her. Gul'dan would kind of work here. Thrall would be pretty decent. Tychus is not bad. Zagara would actually be maybe my preferred choice. But yeah, no, nice picks though overall. So they've got a very strange double warrior. We've seen Leoric so many games. I can't believe how many games we've seen Leoric in. But it's rather interesting they're running Leoric Rexar. I think this is more forgivable than the other Leoric picks. However, I mean, it's still going up against the Oriel that could just Crystal Aegis his Entomb and largely nullify that. Although that being said, pretty much all of our heroes do get kind of caught out by Entomb, so potentially you could work it out that if the Crystal Aegis gets forced out for something else, then Entomb can come down, and if he hits pretty much anyone, they're going to be in a bit of a rough spot, so that's pretty good for them. Kharazim is really nice on this map. It's one of the only maps I'd personally probably run Kharazim, because he gets a lot of value beating up those Temple Guardians. It's pretty nice. And yeah, really interesting compositions here. Double Warrior, Rexar, Leoric. Rather unusual. Going up against Double Warrior, Arthas, and e.t.c. Should be pretty interesting. They're basically running Double Warrior, double support. It's quite strange. It's quite strange. Both of their warriors obviously do a fair chunk of damage. And both myself and Arthas are pretty good targets for the Drain Hope from Leoric. They're definitely putting a lot of weight on the shoulders of the Kel'Thas here in this particular game to be doing a lot of their damage. And we're putting a lot of weight on, I would say, Lunara in particular. And also the Tychus. I don't know, the Tychus is okay. It wouldn't have been my preferred pick, but it's a solid pick up to fill in the last spot anyway. But here we go. Sky Temple, we can go fight over the vision things, and that is what I'm looking at doing. There we go, get a pretty decent power slide in through the enemy team, getting some good damage down. It's doing some damage to the Kharazim as well. Unfortunately, I think I spread that chain bomb, so that was a bit of a mistake from me. I was looking for the Kharazim pickup, didn't quite get it. We do knock Leoric back into the team, then power slide through 2, and pick up the Karazim with some basic attacks, and Lunara's help towards the end of that fight as well. Oh, and there you go, double kill, pretty damn good. Make that a triple kill, because I think Oriel and Arthas picked up Medivh down to the bottom. So 3 kills for none, half a level lead, great start to the game. We're all going to tap our wells and get to the lanes. So I'm going to run down bottom lane here and just start soaking that experience. Obviously not what I want to do is e.t.c. What I want to be doing is pretty much fighting like in that team fight, just getting effective stuns through the enemy team, soaking up damage, and yeah, ganking. e.t.c. is probably one of the best, if not the best, early game ganker. His ganks are insanely good. The level 1 and level 4 power slide talents are a huge part of that. You see us like tapping around the map, trying to keep an eye on what's happening on the map here, because I don't want to stay in this bottom lane, I want to leave. Just trying to keep an eye on what's going on. So I got caught by the flame strike. There you go, Arthas does unfortunately get picked off. I just want to soak this wave and then get out of here. I was kind of hoping he might flame strike. He actually just hits me with the free W damage, the free living bomb damage. There we go, we do manage in the end, but basic attack that minion. It's pretty tough, tougher than I expected. And we can see there's a pretty big fight going on up here. Looks like they almost kill Medivh, but he just barely escapes. Unless the poison picks him off. It's possible. Nah, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But yeah, it could be kind of tricky keeping these shrines, seeing as Rexxar can do such a good job of grabbing them. I know the enemy team was weak and they're backing off, so I'm going to grab this vision point, which is going to be essential to, I think, keeping the shrine and doing a good job on it. There we go, the Kel'Thuz's makes a huge misplay. He comes in. He's actually gone for the questing Flame Strike talent, Convection, and he had a lot of stacks already. So big mistake from him to die. He was coming in just to try to get some free stacks. Hugely miscalculated and pays with, well, his life and that quest progress. So that's a huge bonus for us. A lot of their damage, the enemy team's damage, is going to come from these risky quest talents. Medivh with his level 7 Master's Touch, and then Kel'Thuz with his level 1 Convection. They're going to be a pretty big deal. And we want to make sure that we can try to shut them down whenever we can. A kill on them before they finish their talent, those quests, those talents is going to fully refresh it. So it's pretty damn good. There we go, nice power slide, actually catches all of them here, which is pretty sweet. I'm putting pressure on the Medivh. I want to try to get rid of him and basically put pressure on him to stop him from getting that shield down onto his allies who are behind us. I was kind of hoping we get a kill. Unfortunately we didn't. But the enemy team is playing pretty well. This is a pretty high level game, all things considered. Get a pretty nice stun onto the Kel'Thuz. There we go. That's the power of the e.t.c. early game ganks. Nice little dash by by e.t.c. as well, getting the resistant damage. And the enemy team do pick up the rest of that top temple, but we get 2 kills out of it, and that's pretty good. Very close fight in the middle once again. Unfortunately, we walk out the worst this time around, losing Arthas, but it's not terrible. He Heartstones just before the stun comes in from the Oriel. That's a bit of a pity. Anyway, I was kind of considering as well what sort of talents I'd pick up at these later levels. I believe I go for a loudspeaker or a face melt build. That's the one I go for here. I think it makes sense just for separating people, especially knocking people away from Medivh portals, things like that. Could be pretty nice. And they have a lot of immobile heroes like Kel'Thuz, Rexxar, the actual Rexxar, part of Rexxar. You see this? Shaikus don't give a shit. He's just running through the whole enemy team. He's like, run, 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 run. I think he does die. Oh, no, he doesn't. The heal coming in from Oriel. He's got resistance on himself as well. I try to dodge the Kel'Thuz Q. I think I still get hit by it. But Tychus does eventually die, unfortunately. It's a bit of an epic chase, though. I think they re-engage with Arthas and somewhat pay the price. You can see I'm spending a lot of time looking at the mini-map here and looking around. This is being in danger because Kel'Thuz might arrive. He's actually down here and just hits me with a living bomb. That's unfortunate. And then I very kindly walk it into the structures just to boost his siege damage a little bit. He's going to hit me with another free living bomb. I say, wait, no, don't walk it into the structures, Nubkeks, and I back off and it's going to be fine. Shit is going down up here. It's going absolutely crazy. So I'm going to roam up. Okay, see, they're kind of backing off, so I'm going to roam back. Nope, nope, we are still fighting. Going to back in again. Nice dash by the Karazim over the wall. He had an allied hero there. Enables him to escape from what would have been a pretty much certain death. So, well played by him. The Orc is here too. I kind of want to bait out the Grabby Hand cooldown. Going to knock Kel'Thuz back. The Grabby Hand cooldown does come down. He's doing some good damage to me, but he takes more in return, so that's a pretty good trade overall. Bottom temple is up. They have a Rexxar split pushing though, so this is kind of a tricky enough situation right here. Tricky enough situation. I'm gonna stay in this bush. Now we are spotted by the by Medivh, so we need to be careful. But pretty nice power slide, actually catches all 3 of them. Medivh comes out of his bird form just in time to be stunned. Not gonna complain about that. That's pretty fantastic. I was hoping my W cooldown would come off. It doesn't, so I take a big chunk of damage from that, from the fort, but I think it's worth it just to hopefully pick up a kill on him. But yeah, the poison does expire during the course of that shield, so Medivh walks away with almost no health. I was really hoping with just the end of the W just to pick off that last little bit of hit points and then make an escape under that tower. That's okay. You can see Rexxar is getting a lot of value up here, so we want to push very aggressively. We got the bottom temple, which is fantastic. We're going to hit level 10 as well. So we're up a level, but we really need to make something happen. It doesn't look like we're able to get back up there. So we really need to make something happen in the meantime. Nice little flame strike by Kel'Thuz's, not quite able to sidestep it. I'm moving in this way. I'm obviously looking at the middle of the map as well. I'm moving towards it. Hopefully he doesn't die. Flame strike misses this time. No, he does die. That's unfortunate. So Oriel is dead, but this should be a pretty good fight for us. I'm going to come in here and actually mosh pit straight away. We catch one. We should catch another one probably. Lunara is chasing the Medivh as well. And Leoric is going to fall. So Medivh escapes thanks to his portals, but we do pick up a double kill. I think it's worthwhile to use the mosh pit for a double kill in this situation. Rexxar, in the meantime, picked up that top fort, so pretty good split push from him. Figuring they couldn't win that fight and just backing off. I was hoping to catch Medivh. Unfortunately, we didn't power slide through him, just onto him. Lunara is probably dead here. Yeah, Lunara is dead. Unfortunately, we were being a bit too greedy. Rexxar is back here. The Entomb does pick off Tychus. Oriel had only just returned. I think her heroic might have been on cooldown. We almost pick up the Medivh kill. And then greedily, I go back in to try pick up that last basic attack. The greed is real. And myself and Oriel pay the price for my greed. So that was a really nice fight for the enemy team. They got a 4 for nothing right there. So that is huge. That's a pretty big comeback for them. You can see they're still behind in XP, but they're making a pretty large return all the same. Just checking out the damage stats to keep an eye on this, because I kind of felt like the enemy team was playing this really well. They're playing this really well. Picking up that top fort and then winning that fight. It totally brings them back into this game. We're still ahead, but not by much. You know, it's pretty close. The game could go either way very easily. So at that stage, I'm like, it's worth looking at the stats and seeing who's doing well, who's doing what. So the enemy team was doing the boss. I think that was fairly obvious at that stage. You know, they didn't come to gank Arthas. They were missing for a long time in the map, and that's fine. They want to get the boss. That's okay. We pretty much have to give up this middle temple. We need to rotate down to start killing this boss. Yeah, we want to take a look at this bottom temple too. So that's probably the way things are going to go. Let them take the mid temple. They're going to deal with the mid temple and the top bruisers. Things change though when we see that they're actually on this bottom temple. So I'm saying, okay, fantastic, really great. Hello, friend Rexxar. How nice to see you. You were thinking that you could solo this and we were just going to go for the boss? You fool. Just going to go mount up and run back. Arthas is pretty much going to kill him on his own. There you go. Just wait on top of him, make sure he's got no tricks up his sleeve, and finish him off with a W. We've got to finish off one here with a W. That's pretty good. And up to the middle. You can see Kel'Thuz had to rotate away. I think he rotated away to deal with the bruisers during that. And our teammates picked up a kill on Leoric in the meantime. So well played team. Looks like we're actually grabbing both temples now, which is fantastic. That top fort goes down, regardless of them trying to stop it going down. We did lose the bottom fort because basically no one went to stop the boss except for the Oriel. She tried her best and eventually took it down, but not until it took out the fort. But worthwhile trade, I think, to pick up the Rexxar, secure the bottom temple, and then for that mid fight to go pretty well too. It's doing some damage to this Kharazim. Not really expecting too much. It's just going to run off into the brush to the side right here. I'm looking for a good mosh pit opportunity all this while as well. Arthas just finished off that bottom temple. Pretty cool. Gonna knock him back. Make sure he can't do any much damage to the Tychus. Oriel was soloing a Merc camp. Interesting to know that she can do that. She didn't do it very speedily, but she did it. And that's somewhat useful. Now the enemy team probably rotating towards Arthas here, so we need to make sure they don't grab him. That's exactly where they were going. Medivh does spot us out though, making this rotation quite difficult. I do have mosh pit ready though. Teammates are saying to wait and soak 16. Gonna get a little bit of a pick here. Not a huge pick by any means, but a little bit of a pick. We'll take it. Fortunately, that polybomb is really good, doing a lot of work. I was trying to get in around the side. Gonna back out though. Nice heal from Oriel, keeping me alive. This is a pretty crazy fight. This choke point working very much in the favor of the enemy team. We caught them just a little bit in the wrong spot. If we'd been in one of these more open areas, I think we would have been winning this for sure. At this point, I was looking at the enemy team saying, hey, this might be a 5-man mosh pit opportunity, but unfortunately, it's not going to quite work out. Just the timings of it. Maybe if we'd had the old mount speeds, I could have pulled it off. Would have been a risky play, but it would have been pretty cool to do it. But that's okay. We forced them off. We're going to be able to steal their siege camp. And we're going to be able to reach 16 then, too. And be able to take a fight at the next objective with level 16, which would be pretty great. There we go, just going to soak these waves. Just again looking for any gank opportunities that I find. Keeping an eye obviously on my team at all times to make sure that they're going to be there if I am going to go in for a gank. We have our heroics all coming off cooldown, that's fantastic. One thing you'll have noticed is that I'm not using Mosh Pit indiscriminately. I'm just saving Mosh Pit for when it's going to do the most damage, get the most value. I think I pick up Echo Pedal here for more area damage. Nice grenade from e.t.c, just chasing that KT away. I'm going to come in here now. We see the Medivh's top, we see Rexar's bottom. That's pretty great. Hello, friends. Wasn't a very good power slide that time, but we'll take it. Nice damage from the KT coming out, and a nice stun as well. I think some pretty good damage. We bait out the Phoenix for what that's worth. Now this is where things get a little bit scary. I was going in for a Mosh Pit, but the polymorph comes out and prevents me from doing that, but our teammates followed up with the damage while they're kind of somewhat focused on me and on the Entomb. Pretty nice. Teammates get that damage down, pick off the Leoric and the Kharazim, so that's great, to say the least. Just coming in through here for a stun, getting away as well. We could potentially get a pick at some stage. Well, this is a pick for sure. Medivh comes through, he gets rooted, we knock him back, he can't get into his portal because of that knockback and what the artist was doing. Portal expires, and so does Medivh, so pretty nice. Gonna steal their bruisers, seeing as we're here. And then with that bruiser pressure, we've got the option to rotate around to this temple pretty much for free and to take that. I'm obviously looking for any gank opportunities as well whenever we go through, any picks that we could pick up. Not in a big rush to get here. There you go, we can see the enemy team being forced to respond to those bruisers, and while they do that, we're going to be able to start picking up this temple. What I really want to do as well is to try to pick up maybe catch them while they're rotating. If they come to try to fight this temple, catch them while they're rotating. See, I'm keeping an eye on it all this time. Nice pick by our teammates onto the Kharazim, catching them out pretty well. Myself and Arthas are here. We see that their Kharazim, or not their Kharazim, their Leoric and Rexar are here. Throw out the Mosh Pit just for the sake of this. I think it's worthwhile to do so. Indeed, it does look like it's going to be. Leoric actually overstays his welcome, not quite able to escape. Probably should have Wraith Walked straight through the Mosh Pit and just run for his life. But in the end, that cost him 2 kills. So definitely a worthwhile Mosh Pit in the end. 2 deaths. Pretty happy with that. They were confident that we were chasing their teammates towards the mid lane. Didn't expect us to come around. They stayed to finish. Got a bit greedy. Stayed to finish the minion wave and get the XP. And paid a heavy price for it. It's pretty good. That's the power of e.t.c though as well, is that his ganks they're insane. He's very squishy for a tank. He's really squishy. The only thing you have that increases your survivability really is your self-heal on the E, which is pretty weak, all things considered. You see here, just went in for that zoning power slide, tried to keep them off as they were trying to invade us on the boss. So I'm pushing in here as well. Nice power slide opportunity, catches multiple members of the enemy team. Gonna knock them back in here as well. Finish off Kharazim with some basic attacks. The Lunara poison is actually the thing that picks him off in the end. Nice heal from Oriel, keeping me alive as Rexar tries to pick me off too. And there you go, pretty fantastic stuff. Gotta grab the Rexar with the stun too. That's a quad kill. And 4 heroes of the enemy team are dead. It's only Kelthis left alive. That's gonna be GG. We got a boss pushing. 4 enemy team members dead. Pretty sweet. It's gonna do a bit of damage to these minions on the way. Why the hell not? And yeah, nice game. Really, I think it was a really good game. Very high level game. Nice plays from pretty much everyone involved. The enemy team had some pretty good comebacks. Their team comp was pretty bad, I would say, but they tried. I was trying to get maybe a pick on the Kelthis just for old time's sake, but he does escape in the end nonetheless. Doesn't matter. We're picking off the core. Down goes the core. Get level 20 just as it goes down. And yeah, GG. Pretty smooth game, all things considered. Definitely there was that moment in the mid game where we got 4 for none. They got the boss, which is kind of scary. But yeah. Also, lesson of the day. Lesson of the day. Let your team captain pick what they want to pick. And this is why freaking Lunara, the MVP. We didn't make the MVP screen in the end. That's okay. Whole team played well. It's hard to appear. Fortunately, they don't give him the 8th vote, which does a special graphic thing. I don't know. But 7 votes for Lunara. People obviously had a lot of respect for him. He played pretty well. He had a bit of a strange talent build too, but it worked out, so that's pretty good. I don't think he did pick up the level 13 talent. I think he got Giant Killer instead of the Unfair Advantage, so he didn't really go with what we were building into, but against the Double Warriors it also worked pretty well. I would still go for Unfair Advantage myself in this situation, but there you go. I picked up Rolling Like a Stone, double neck guitar, loudspeakers, mosh pit, face melt, echo pedal. We didn't get to level 20. But there you go. That was a pretty successful game. Our stats are pretty respectable. Yeah, that's basically how you play e.t.c, I guess. And a pretty high-level game, well, very high-level game, is just, power sliding around through the team fights, looking for picks, just trying to make the most out of your CC, not committing too much, or not as much as you can on other warriors like, I don't know, Muradin or someone like that, who's much, much tankier. e.t.c, you definitely have to be a little bit more careful. Your real value comes through the CC you're bringing rather than your tankiness. So definitely being a little bit cautious, but positioning aggressively with that. And yeah, it worked pretty well. I'm very, very happy with that. Give a like if you like this video, and if you learned something. That's us 5 placement games down halfway through. We're actually 4-1 up, which is a really good record for the placement games. Was not expecting it to be so good. Also was not expecting to see this many Leorics. I'm kind of baffled on both counts, but I suppose we'll take both counts with a smile. So there you go. I will see you all next time for Placement Game 6, where who knows what we're going to play. We've played a nice variety of heroes so far, I think. We've played a couple of assassins, a couple of specialists, and now a warrior. So yeah, nice mix. A couple of warriors actually, Tyrael and e.t.c, 2 of the best warriors. Sergeant Hammer, Li Ming, 2 of the best range damage dealers, and then Thrall, one of the best melee assassins. So yeah, nice mix of heroes we're getting to pick up here. And there you go. Do let me know as well, if you want, in future, whether you'd like to see the Q-Dodge drafts. I thought in this case it was pretty interesting, seeing as it was some of the same players and it was the same map, to see how we adjusted the drafts. And I was personally much happier with our draft in the second game. So yeah, there you go. I'll see you all next time for more Heroes of Storm, guys. Bye bye.